How's it going, everyone? We're back with another Blue Protocol video. This time it's my class impressions on the Foe Breaker, which is this amazing class with this giant hammer slash cannon. I did previously play the Spell Weaver, so I thought I'd try out something completely different, a melee class, a slower melee class as well. And I've got to tell you guys, this might be my pick for the full game. I have been loving this. The solo leveling, the group experience. This class is a beast. So I'm going to run you through my overall impressions. We'll go and take a look at all the abilities and the actual class itself and all that good stuff. This is, of course, the beta, so we are level capped, and things do change at higher levels. We'll look at some of the skills that we can get at higher levels as well. But essentially, if we toggle the UI back on, we are a very interesting melee class when we play the Foe Breaker. We have basic attacks that do a variety of different swings. So essentially, if we hold back while doing a basic attack, we do a downward slam. If we hold left or right, we do like a wide sweep, sort of bullet explosion. And if we hold forwards, we encase it with earth, which actually builds up earth element as well and is a faster hitting jab. But the hardest hitting of the three is definitely holding back for the downward slam. That is the strongest in terms of the actual damage output that we deal. But it's all about the abilities, and as you can see under my character, there's like some bullets, and that is basically our resource for our class. So when we hold right click, we will reload those bullets. But if we tap right click while we have bullets, we're actually a mid-range class as well, and we can shoot our sort of hammer cannonball forwards, which will tag enemies and slightly pull them towards us, but it does use up a bullet, as you can see. But we can also reload to bring those back. But there's more nuance than just that. If we do a bunch of abilities, and I'll explain these in a sec, that will use up our bullets, so each ability costs a certain amount of bullets. Once we completely run out of bullets, we can just tap to reload. It won't do the animation. It will instantly reload and give us 2 additional bullets that you can see underneath. So the way that you kind of want to play this is to use all your abilities together, as well as your shoot forward attack, so that you use every single resource so that you can then fill it up, get even more resources, and not have to do the sort of the stationary animation reload. So there's a bit of nuance there, which I really love about it. And as you've seen from the abilities just now, we have a lot of AoE big smash jump attack abilities, and that's what makes this class feel so fun. So if I run over to this mob over here, you can see we can do a big jump slam. And then I've got another ability that does like an earth slam, and the damage is so big on some of these mobs, it's 1 or 2 hitting them with those kind of attacks. But because we are like a mid-ranged sort of cannon weapon as well, we also have some ranged attacks. So for example, this ability here will shoot our cannonball forward, pull a mob towards us and stun them. Meanwhile, my other ability here, I can hold it down to aim it, and it's literally a cannon shot that does huge damage. So we are this interesting mix of melee and sort of short ranged attacks as well. But the damage is super good, and we're very survivable, unlike the Spell Weaver, which was very squishy, and we're very mobile because we can move while doing a lot of attacks. We can do attacks mid-jump. I do love the slam attacks because the AoEs are very big on them and they do a ton of damage, but it just feels good to be mobile and to be actually hitting things. And obviously juggling the bullets gives it that sort of bit of depth to the class that you want. But the general flow, at least with the abilities that I'm using at level 11, is we go in, do a couple slams, we can even shoot with our cannon. We'll go over to this guy here, we'll use our last 2 bullets, we'll reload to max it out. We can even pull him in with a stun, then we can wail on him with our basic attacks, which also deal quite a lot of damage as well, as you can see. So my first impressions when I was playing this was, oh my gosh, I have tons of AoEs, they all hit really hard, I'm very mobile, and although they're slower hitting moves, they're not that slow, you know? And for our ultimate, we have a really cool move. Let's find a mob nearby that we can do it on rather than just doing it on nothing. It's essentially a giant slam or earthquake. We'll do it on this boar over here that knocks enemies up in the air and creates constant earth damage on the floor below us. It's kind of like an instant AoE panic button. You can see just deletes everything. This does tick damage until it disappears. So the ultimate is just another fat AoE huge damaging move. And a lot of our moves also have earth element mixed into them. So if we go over to our character, I'm doing all of this, by the way, with a level 1 weapon. Most people at this point are using level 10 weapons. So this is the damage that we're dealing with, a level 1 weapon. You can see here, this is our tree. It looks very daunting. It's all in Japanese. So we have our abilities here. We basically have like perks here that we get as we level up. Our ultimate here, our basic attack, and our right-click attack over here. But it's the abilities that I wanted to show off to you guys. So, as you can see, when we at different sort of level intervals, we get upgrades to the abilities that makes them stronger, do more stuff. But also at maximum, we get an A and a B alternate version of the ability that tweaks the way they work or makes them do slightly different things. It's not super obvious in the preview sometimes, you know, it might be a nuance to the damage type, or it gives you like a buff or something like that. But some of them are quite different. But as you can see, that's our starting ability, Jump Slam. I've still kept it because it's so good and it does such good damage. But we also have moves like this one, where you can hold down, it depletes your stamina, and you do a big spinning AoE around you that does constantly ticks enemies, which I think will be much better at higher levels, because at lower levels this one just wasn't outputting the damage that I wanted it to compared to the ground slam abilities. But you do have these sort of AoE sweep, spin to win attack options as well. This is a really cool move that I'm not currently using, but you essentially do a rocket jump into a slam, and you get super armor while you're doing the sort of initial charge, which means if you do this when you're about to get hit, you basically take no damage. So it's kind of cool that the class has super armor moves built in as well. You can see the rocket jump goes pretty far too. So that was definitely a cool move. So lots of mobility on these classes with these jumps. This is a move that I'm definitely gonna have to not this one. There's another one I have to explain. This one, sorry, I got my moves mixed up there. I'm too excited. This one is essentially a self buff that gives you damage reduction and super armor, so you can just go ham. So it's one of the few melee options that has a buff that gives you super armor, which is insane, because in this game you don't regenerate health passively and you do get hit a lot. We obviously can't even block on this class, so having the ability to heal or have super armor means you can sustain for longer, quest for longer without having to go back and heal or use potions. So that's a pretty good self buff. This is the other spin to win move that does earth element in it, I believe. So previously you saw... Oh no, this is an even different one, sorry. This move is pretty cool, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. It essentially pulls you to a target and does an attack, so it's a bit of a gap closer, but it didn't do a lot of damage, so I didn't really end up using that one. But you can see here, this is an earth skill. You can see in the little corner side. So this one sends out like little earth tornadoes, and at higher level, I think it sends out more of them. So this move was pretty cool, but the problem was the mobs get pushed back off of it. So it's not like they can stay inside it and keep taking tick damage. It's more like it's a way to get things off of you and create a gap between you and the enemy. But I really was focusing on the damage skills myself. So you can see another earth-based skill here, that earth slam that we love. This one's really good. It builds up earth element and does a ton of damage as well. And this is a skill I'm going to have to demo to you guys because this is a really cool mechanic and this affects how the sort of overall class plays. But we'll just go through each ability that we've unlocked so far so you can sort of see them in action. This is, I believe, the cannon shot, which does great damage. This is the earth spin to win, I think, which is the same as the previous spin to win, but does earth damage ticks in it as well. And then finally, we have the stun skill that I've only just recently unlocked that pulls a mob towards you and stuns them. It's great to have a stun. It works on pretty much everything in the game, which is really, really cool. And the last ability that I'll unlock in my next level up looks like a self buff of some kind. It might be another ammo type. But this is what I wanted to explain to you guys because there's so much nuance to the actual bullet system of this class that I really, really love. So if we equipped this skill here, as you know about the reloading that we talked about that gives you bullets, this skill, which is on a 45-second cooldown, will reload our bullets and give them a special effect that will make us heal every time we use a bullet. So not only do we have things like buffs with super armor, abilities that have super armor in them, like we talked about, but we also have special types of bullets that we can load into our weapon, which of course will unlock more of those later on, and as you level it up, it will tweak the way the effects work with the alternate A and B version of the skill. But this means we actually have an option for self-sustain while dealing damage. So we're on 12 seconds right now, and I'll show it to you, but you can see I'm at 656 health. I've taken a bit of damage already. You can do this both in and out of combat, but essentially, if we reload like you can see now with the ability, our bullet icons change. They're now glowing blue, and every time we use an ability, we're healed. So now we're on 702 HP, now we're on 732, and if you're out of combat, you can also just shoot the cannonball because that uses one bullet, which will heal us for 15 per pop. So this is a great way to sustain while dealing damage on this class by using that ability. And once you run out of bullets, instantly reload, get the 2 extra. So this class has high damage, it has AoEs, it has self-buff, survivability, it even has the capability to heal or buff our damage with those different bullet types. And I got to say, I switched over to this from Spellweaver, which means I was level 1, and I had to basically farm mobs and do higher level quests to catch up. And I've caught up so fast because I was killing things and grouping enemies and destroying them so easily. If you want a class that has high damage, big AoEs, flashy moves with jump slams and stuff like that, I think the Foe Destroyer is the one to try. This has been my favorite class personally leveling up. I actually preferred this over the Spellweaver, but the Spellweaver does play very different as a mage ranged spellcasting class. But trust me guys, if you like Monster Hunter and you like hammers or great swords and stuff like that, this is the weapon that plays similar to that. You've got big, weighty, hard-hitting attacks that do not disappoint. So that's my overall impressions of the Foe Breaker so far from the beta. Hit that like button and tell us in the comments which class or what type of Blue Protocol content you guys would like to see next. But definitely hit like because it really does help us and supports us and the video. And the 2 videos on screen now we think you'll really enjoy if you did enjoy this one. Of course, you don't have to watch them if you don't want to, but if you did enjoy this video, you're probably going to enjoy these ones too. And then tell us what you think after watching in the comments down below.